Hi everyone, I hope you enjoyed my first episode of the Western poster collection that I did in my first video. Today I'm going to be sharing a new video series. This one's about a coffee shop that I go and visit probably twice a month. On the weekend I go with my partner, and we usually go and we get a latte, sit down, sketch. I usually do my own personal drawings. I usually work on architecture. Sometimes we'll read, sometimes we'll meet up with friends. It's just this really nice coffee shop we love to go and hang out at. So the point of this cafe series is that I'm going to be redesigning the cafe's logo. So this is not a commission project. This is a personal project that I actually wanted to do for myself. I absolutely love going to this cafe. It has a great environment. The employees are amazing. The owners are amazing. And it's one of the best cafes I've ever been to. The food is amazing. I love the waffles. I absolutely love the lattes. And the cool thing about the place is they don't just serve coffee and breakfast, pastries and beverages and things like that. They also have a bike service. If this is starting to ring a bell, you might have heard of it before. It's called Gravel and Grind, and they're located in Fredrick, Maryland. It's by far my favorite cafe to go to, and since it is one of my favorite, I've been really wanting to get some merch to bring home and rep the company and the business, because I absolutely love this place so much. I can't speak any higher about this place. I don't have the language, but I absolutely just love the cafe. But the thing is, they don't have a lot of merch. They have stickers. They have a tumbler with their logo on it. And it got me thinking, it's oh, I would really like to support their business. And as a designer, I'm kind of picky. I will literally go to places, even if the food's not good, because I like the logo and the branding. But a lot of times when I do find a really great place, I love the food and atmosphere, whatever. I love the business. A lot of times I don't like the logo, and it kind of makes me a little bit disappointed. So it's not like I don't like this Gravel and Grind logo. Don't like the Gravel and Grind logo. I just don't think it's the best representation of their business. I understand why they made the logo. If you go and look at the physical location, even just Googling it, you will see that the logo represents the shape of the physical building. The original building, if I have this correct, was an auto mechanic shop before it was converted into whatever it was next before Gravel and Grind. This was done in the 40s, so the building is very Art Deco inspired. So the logo is very Art Deco inspired, and the shape of the logo represents the shape of the building. So I think they really pushed for the logo to represent the atmosphere, and the atmosphere is very, very welcoming. And I think they have those aspects within the current logo of that kind of homey-like feeling. But the funny thing is, as I was going to this cafe, I've been going to it for over a year and a half now. Within my first probably 3 months, I had no idea they had a bike service. I saw all this bike stuff hanging around, and I was like, oh, cool, the owner must have a hobby in bikes. And then I realized it was actually, they had this bike service. Maybe I just wasn't as observant, but my family has a really big background in biking. I decided that for this video series, I'm going to be wearing different bike shirts. Because my family is really big into biking. This is a bike jersey that my dad used to wear when he was a part of the College Park Bike Club. If you're from the University of Maryland, there used to be a really good bagel place that went out of business about a year ago. so mad. It went out of business my senior year of college, and I was so mad that happened. It's the best bagel place in town. It was the only bagel place in town. But that's where they used to do all the meetups for the bike rides. So anyway, maybe I'm just as observant as a person. But usually when I do see a bike, I'm like, oh, bike. Just because it has like so much significance to me. So I guess I'm not really as an observant as a person as I think I am. But anyway, for this video, I'm going to be running through my design process from looking at the website to creating sketches, to deciding on 3 logos to move into rough drafts, and then doing a couple different rounds of critiques from family and friends, and taking that input and continuing to make a better logo and improving it. So, like I said before, the whole reason for this project was to kind of find a way to create merchandise that included more of the services that they offered. And this is a personal project. It's not a commission. I want to make that clear. I think maybe towards the end of the project, I might pitch this to the actual business and see what they say. Maybe they'll just stumble upon the videos. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to be doing 2 other videos along with this video, where I'll be first doing the rebranding of the logo, then moving into merchandise. And I really wanted for this logo to make a video on animation. I really want to expand my skill set into animation. And I thought this was going to be a great logo to animate, because while I was in the coffee shop, I'm like, oh, it'd be so cute if there was an animation of a coffee cup with the bike, like just a bike circling around the rim of the cup. So I thought that was my start to thinking about this logo project, and what got me really excited. So I hope you're just as excited. I really hope you go check out the website, go check out their social media. If you live in Maryland, I highly recommend taking a trip to the coffee shop. You will fall in love with the place just as much as I did. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this video, and it's a series, so stick around. So for some initial concepts, I did a bunch of sketches outside of this video, and then I really like this one logo where I had a coffee cup at the top, and then at the bottom I had this uppercase G, but the entire logo is a lowercase g, and I was kind of playing on the fact that it's gravel and grind, G and G, and then of course I threw a bike in there. But that was one I was really pushing for. And then I came up with 2 others that I really liked, but I didn't like as much as that first logo. And you'll see when I begin sketching to kind of create a little bit more concrete and hone my ideas down, that I really put a lot more effort into the first logo, which is good and bad. As a designer, you should equally spend as much time on a logo, each idea, and really think them through. I definitely do not think I thought this first logo through enough. I was favoring it more, but I don't think I was really putting myself in the shoes of a customer and being like, would they be able to read this and understand the reason behind the design? And that's probably one of the most important things in visual branding, is putting yourself in the customer. Like, we talk about it a lot with UX UI design. You have to understand how the customer is going to interact with the brand and what they infer. So that's something I kind of missed the mark on this first logo. And I didn't find that out until I started doing critiques with family members and with friends and getting their feedback. And I came up with 2 other ideas. This is what I always do with logos. I always try and come up with 3 solid ideas that are different. And I could have I really should have put more effort into these other logos to see if they would have worked, but at the time of this project, I was really excited and I just wanted to get it started. And my first idea, my first logo, I kind of went with and ran with it, and I didn't really put much time into reconsidering the other logos. And this logo that I'm currently drawing, I've seen it done before, and I really didn't put that much effort into this logo because I felt like it didn't challenge me as much as a designer because I've seen it done before, if that makes sense. So now that I'm done with the rough sketches, I'm going to take my 3 ideas and then move them into Adobe Illustrator and make 3 refined sketches and then pitch them to some friends and family. So let's get started. So now that we're moving on into Illustrator, I'm able to refine my sketches a little bit better. I'm a little bit out of touch from doing some rough sketching, so it's good that I'm doing these projects where I can get back into that. I do a lot of my sketching on Adobe Illustrator, so it's really weird when I pick up a pen and pencil and do some things, but honestly, that's how you get ideas out. A lot of times I can't make ideas into fruition on Adobe Illustrator right away, and sometimes just a little bit of chicken scratch can help you out so much. And honestly, with these logos, I think I could have expanded my ideas a little bit further if I kept sketching. And I remember being in school and there was always like a rule where you had to do like at least 20 sketches. And then for one specific idea, you had to do at least like 10 refined thumbnail sketches. And it was crazy how it was so hard to complete those 10 sketches. But if you didn't, you a lot of times didn't like end up with like a good process or you didn't end up with a good final project. You had like a lot of extra revisions that probably could have been fixed if you just spent more time sketching. And honestly, that happened here in this project. I'm not gonna lie. I got a little excited, a little ambitious, and I just jumped into it right away. For this second logo, it was inspired by the Trek logo, where the Trek logo has the markings of bike treads going through the mud, I guess. And that's something I wanted to replicate with a coffee bean, since it has that kind of swiggle in it from, I guess, the way it's roasted. So I was trying to mimic that idea of the bike tires going through the coffee bean. And this was one I could have sketched out a little bit further, because as I started creating it on Adobe Illustrator, I got really stuck. And I just could not figure out how to make it work. And honestly, I didn't put a lot of effort into this second logo like I did the first logo. And maybe it would have worked if I just put more effort into it, but I kind of quickly gave up on it. And then moving into the third logo, I've seen this logo done before. And it made me really hesitant about actually working on this logo. I liked the idea of it. I liked how it combined the espresso and the biking, but honestly, as I was making this, the coffee shop, the cafe, is so much more than just espresso coffee. They have teas, they have food, they have all these other products. So I kept thinking in my head that the first logo seemed to represent the shop overall better because it was a mug. It didn't just have to be a coffee mug. So moving forward, I decided to focus on the first logo, of course, because that was the one I was spending the most time on. And after taking another look and putting down the project, I realized that uppercase G didn't really look like an uppercase G when I first drew it, so that was something I was refining. And as I kept going through this logo, I kept just making minor tweaks. And then I really wanted to play around with colors. I mainly went and grabbed the colors off of their website, just because I wanted to use what they were already using for their branding. So it was a nice turquoise color and then a really pretty, rich, like navy blue. And those colors went really well together. So for a logo, I always think it's really important to do a normal black logo and then a reverse white on black logo, and then move on with the colors and make sure that you can do the logo in all of the colors and reverse them, so that when you do usually pitch a logo to a client, you can show them the versatility in the logo, and then also show them that, hey, you can use your colors in different ways that you never really thought of, and you're kind of starting to build a brand book for them, not just a logo. You're starting to build more of that visual branding identity. So I always find that my clients really appreciate it when I do show them the logo in different versions. But with the first critique, I always show the first black on white logo. And then second critique, I start to add the colors, and we look at colors. And usually we'll pull the colors outside the logo and take a look at several different rounds of colors, and then put them back on the logo to make sure that they that the color represents the logo and how it's received. And you can see here I'm about to go in and realize that the light teal color on that caramel brown creates this vibration that you can't really see very well. So I'm going to keep playing with that caramel color to find that right, like, coffee tea look to it. But allow for that teal to not vibrate as much and blend into that background, while still making sure that that caramel color works with the navy blue color. And this is the hardest part of doing skin tone like colors, is making sure that it's not too red, not too yellow, not too gray, not too black. It's like a science. So I give a lot of credit to those in the fashion world for sitting down and really trying to make a skin tone, a color for every single skin tone. It's hard. It's really, really hard. But this is also why we go back and make sure that the colors look good on logos, because when you look at it a second time, you'll be like, oh, that color really does not work well. And you don't find out until you test it. So after finalizing that first logo concept, I decided to pitch it to a couple friends and family members and see what their thoughts were. And I received a lot of good comments. And one of the main ones was that no one saw the lowercase g and understood that I was trying to represent G and G, gravel and grind. So that was a big hit to me, but it was really constructive because honestly, I was creating a logo that didn't really make sense to the audience. They didn't really get that feature. Even though once I said that to my friends, they understood it right away, but I had to tell them that. And you should never, when you're designing something, have to tell someone why you designed it that way. I know when you go and critique things, you always have to, or like when you go to a client, you always have to tell them why you did something. But really, when you're making brand visuals for customers to look at, it's what their first impression really means. That's what really matters in this. So I took that into consideration, and yeah, we can go through my process next. So after receiving the critiques on the first logo that I did, I was a little disappointed that I knew right away I was going to have to get rid of that large G and just work with the top of that logo of the coffee cup and just play around with how I can make that the main logo. So I played a lot around with different positioning of the of gravel and grind, of the text, and of the bike. And I just kept playing and playing and playing and seeing where I could get. And something that I did to also connect my logo to the actual gravel and grind logo, besides the color, was actually finding that font that they use. I have used it before in the past on t-shirts and really liked it on t-shirts. So I was like, you know what? This is a great way to connect it and almost rebrand the logo, because you're keeping some of the same visual elements as the previous logo. So it doesn't look as far-fetched that you're really recreating the real. You're just adding onto it in a way. Adding a different perspective to it. And you can tell that after the critiques, I was really just trying anything and everything that came to my mind. And I kept kind of playing, and I definitely think I could have streamlined this process by going back, printing this out, and sketching ideas, and sketching as many ideas as I possibly could before going in and doing another round of this logo. Because you see, I go back and I actually revisit the third concept logo that I did from the beginning of this video, just in a different way. And in these concepts, I think I was trying to push more for the bike than the coffee aspect. And as I keep playing, I'm like, okay, is this looking too bike dominant? It's also a cafe. So I kept having to play with that balance of the two services they offer. So you see a big jump and change of logo. I actually didn't record a little bit of me editing. I mainly just forgot, but I was talking to my mom, who's a graphic designer as well, and I decided to work on the logo with her a little bit, just because I was getting a little bit stuck on ideas, and it's always great to bounce ideas off with another creative brain, especially someone who is in the same industry. So I talked to her about the logo a lot, and she made some really great suggestions, and I just kept playing, and she was really helping me with where to display the typography. And I kept playing, and I ended up deciding on a final logo that I showed around my house and then to a lot of my friends, and they really liked this logo. So I am calling this logo, the final logo, I'm actually ready to move on with the process and start designing merchandise. But I honestly think I landed on a really good logo in the end that represented the bike shop well, and the the cafe. So I think it united those two aspects of the service as well. So I think I achieved my goal on that part. Now it's just coming down to creating the animation and the merchandise. I really like the logo I came to designing because I think it looks more like a logo that rebranded on the existing logo. It added to, didn't take away, it wasn't reinventing the wheel, but it was still accomplishing my goal of adding those two features of their service into it and creating more of a cohesive representation of the cafe. So I started the video with a bike jersey, so now I'm ending the video with the bike jersey. This is my Bianchi bike jersey that I wear when I go bike riding. I stole it from my dad, again. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video on the logo. There was definitely a lot of changes I made in my own personal process, and based on the critiques, I changed a lot. I was definitely pushing really hard for one logo in the beginning, and then after a lot of critiques, I kind of had to give up on that idea. But hey, that's what we have to do as designers. So I hope you really enjoy this video. Stay tuned for my other videos in this series, and if you haven't already, go check out my videos in my Western poster series. So I hope to see you next time, and if you haven't already, please hit like and subscribe. Thanks. See you later.